I'm ignoring it. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to say
Welsh. Clear our minds that we may make wise decisions, and touch our hearts that we may feel compassion for others. Open our eyes and ears that we can hear and see the needs of our town. Use our hands to touch and serve all people. Touch our mouths that we would speak only of things that are true and right, and make our feet ready to go and do the work that you lay before us. Guide and protect us with your blessing over our town. Boog, would you say the pledge, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stephanie, would you call roll? Andre King? Here. Ronnie Traum?
Here.
Lawrence Weir?
Here.
Cody Terry? And Bob Owen?
Here.
Do I have anyone that wants to be on the agenda of the day besides those I have already?
Mayor, I'd just like to say a word about the zoning commission at this time.
Sir?
I'd just like to say a few words about zoning if you have time.
Okay, I have you down, okay. Okay, for the agenda of the day, I have Colonel Bernie McLaughlin, who's gonna address, unfair tax on the Welsh community, Paul A. Chan on the recall, and Jim Wright on the zoning commission. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda of the day? I have a motion by Rodney. Second by Bob. All in favor? Any opposed? The next is to approve the minutes of the April 4th, 2017 minutes as presented. Do I have a motion to accept them? I have a motion by Rodney. Second by Booker. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, I'm going to, I have two people that are going to speak before we start the public hearing. First person I'm calling is Colonel Bernie McLaughlin, who's going to address us about the unfair tax on the Welsh community.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let me start out with sharing with everybody that's here a little bit about me. I'm a double LSU graduate, undergraduate school and law school. I've been practicing law for 40 years in this community, including Lake Charles. I'm pretty well known. My practice is in mediation. I mention that because I'm a guy that comes in and helps people settle lawsuits, resolve disputes, including community disputes, etc. I'm a retired colonel, U.S. Army, have spent time overseas in combat operations in Iraq, including helping track down and destroy al-Qaeda terror cells. So I've got a pretty good way of analyzing situations when I look at them. Like probably everybody that's here, I have seen everything that has been in the paper from probably about a month ago with a March 28th or 29th report through, videos that have been posted, recent articles, a letter that I personally doubt the validity of that was in the paper on Sunday from someone named Cindy Simmons. If she exists and is in this room, I apologize to her, but I can't find somebody by that name who lives in the Welsh community. I have business interest in Jefferson Davis Parish, and I've got a national and regional reputation in mediation, so I try to call it very, very fairly. So the first thing I want to do is address a special guest we have here named Teresa Richard. Teresa has made kind of a career of filing lawsuits against small town governments and parishes. I have with me a list of at least 7 or 8 lawsuits. These are just the ones I know about. There may be more. There's a pending lawsuit against Annette Cotrera, the Raintown clerk, who has filed a countersuit against Ms. Richard. There's one involving, she's sued the chief of police at Crowley at least a couple times. Judge Hike dismissed her federal civil rights suit. Most of these cases, I will tell you, she's lost. She had a case against Key Stoops, the DA in Lafayette Parish. That was dismissed by Judge Trahan. That was just last September. She has a current suit against the Acadia Parish School Board because she's unhappy with how they were supposed to deliver school bus reports to her. She's got a current suit going on against Joel Robideau, the mayor of the Lafayette Parish City Government, because she's claiming they didn't respond to a motion to produce a document that she wants. And by the way, the Rain case is scheduled for hearing May 8th. The case against the mayor of Lafayette is scheduled for hearing on May 30th. You might imagine it took a lot of time to put this information together. And then she's got another case involving the Acadia Parish Clerk of Court, a Deputy Smith at Acadia Parish Sheriff's Office, which just got dismissed, by the way, on March 20, 2017 on summary judgment. That means they threw her case out of court. She has some sites you can look at. PNAC, that means photography is not a crime. That's where she posted a video claiming that Madam Clerk is the she-tyrant of Welsh. She posted another video not too long ago mockingly calling the town of Welsh the Kingdom of Welsh. And I'm here to tell you, I've got a lot of phone calls about this. This is a great community. Jeff Davis is a great parish. You've got a lot of good, hardworking people here. And this has made my blood boil. I put my life on the line. She thinks she's some kind of a patriot. I'll tell you what patriotism is. And the thing is, we have this town has had some issues. A lot of that stuff has been, repaired, and people are actively trying to put the city government in the best shape it's been in, the police force, etc. But when you have an outsider coming in, causing these kind of problems, that's an issue that this whole community should rise up against. And I will go on the record saying, I've got no problem with anybody coming to any public venue and asking for records. She has an absolute right to do that. But I'll tell you this, every time I have gone, and I've gone to hundreds of venues looking for public records, I never showed up with a camera, which is what she did here on April 4th, or thereabouts. On top of that, and she's filed some pauper affidavits in her cases, I've got those. She reports herself as either unemployed for the last 8 years or on disability status now. Now think about that. This is a woman filing lawsuits asking for money, most of them, and she's unemployed. So you tell me what's going on with this woman that's here. I mean, that's what's going on. I could go on more and more and more. I've got boxes of files she can't even imagine. Because when some people contacted me in this community, business people, all kinds of people saying, look, we think we're getting attacked unfairly, I'm the one that sat down and put it all together, and I want everybody here to know really what's going on with that. And I could go on more. By the way, this is a letter dated December 6, 2013, from the town attorney of Crowley to her then lawyer. When you read this, because one of the things that's come out of this is, this poor woman has been attacked unmercifully on the internet. People calling her the most vile, hostile names, and I won't use the pejoratives that were used, but attacking this woman, putting her home address and phone number on the internet, putting stuff on the Welsh Greyhound baseball website, posting this stuff. I mean, you can't imagine. I've got it all. I've got it all printed. I've got it all documented, and I've spent some time researching the emails of these people. And I'll tell you, it started out with that woman right there, posting this video. And I'm convinced, this is my opinion, but I'm convinced I can show she promoted or encouraged it. She's got this Eyes on Rain website that she contributes to. She's got the Cop Watch site that she contributes to. She's got, other scenarios going on. That's some things that I think everybody should be aware of. But to me, it's a travesty. And here's what the DA at this point has said, nothing is wrong with what's going on in the city. The legislative auditor has not filed any action against the town of Welsh for anything. And I know a ton of people live in Welsh. These are good, honorable, hardworking people. And I think it's a shame that this, city's, reputation and so on has been belittled by people, because it's really unfair to the people that are here. Anyway, in this letter, and I'll tell you what happened. These emails included encouraging people to mass call the town of Welsh and the police department. She can hardly run her department because of the mass calls, and we've got most of them taped, okay? And also the police department. And let me tell you why it's so important. You saw when Occupy Wall Street and these Antifa people, when they block interstates, you've probably seen the things on the internet where you have an ambulance that can't get to where it's going. At some point you push it too far. But think about this, deja vu. 4 years ago, the city attorney in Crowley sent a letter to her attorney because they couldn't, almost nobody could call in because all these people are calling in, blocking their phone lines. I mean, mass calling, that's a tactic they use. Now think about this, I know, because I've talked to the chief, and it got to the point in Crowley that only the chief of police would take the calls because the officers were getting so stressed about everything. And here's the problem, if you have one person that has an emergency in this town, and they can't make a call to Madam Clerk or to the chief of police, and somebody's life is in jeopardy, I mean, that's a real problem. And what's interesting, I'm not making this up, this is what the city attorney of Crowley 4 years ago actually sent her a letter telling her, tone it down, you are impacting city services. And again, to be clear, the oath you take as an officer in the Army is to support and defend the Constitution. I support her right to use the Constitution for whatever purposes, including open meeting laws and coming in public records. But if you take it over the top after that, you're courting trouble. And I'm telling you, that's what's happened here. And the other thing I want to tell you, there is a direct connection between this man right here, Mr. Perry, and that lady, and I can prove it. A direct connection. You're friends with her on Facebook. I know you communicated with her. And let me tell you.
Does that mean anything? Friends on Facebook? I'm friends with thousands of
Oh, yes, sir. Well,
thousands of people. I
absolutely.
can call out other people
I have
in this room who are
1,500 friends on
Facebook
Facebook.
as well.
And
Well, let me ask you
300
this.
Were
followers.
you hired by the town of Welsh? Can I ask you that?
you can ask that. No, I have no
You
affiliation.
have direct connections
I-
with her. You were, yes, you were here on behalf.
Yeah, let him finish.
I have a right to speak.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
So let me share this with you, Colby. You posted your U.S. Navy security clearance on the internet. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, how the U.S. Navy and
I
NCIS.
can do that. I can
Post
do that
it on the
YouTube.
internet?
That is part of my resume.
Show
Yes, I can
me,
do
show me a
that.
directive that says that, because I doubt
can do
that.
that, yes.
I'd love to see it,
What does
because
that
I
have to
saw
do
the
with
April
town
21.
I'm not saying what kind of operations I'm involved in. I can post.
You
on
alluded
my
to the
resume.
operation. You alluded to the operation.
You have no idea what operation I was involved in. You have no idea.
You put it-
I was thousands of miles away.
You
You
were
have
in
no
Japan.
idea.
Well, let me share this thought with you. I've also got everything you posted when you ran for election. I know the DOD directives by heart when you run for public campaign and you're either active duty military or you're a reserve component military person. If you put a picture of uniform, which you did, on your official campaign website, and you have no disclaimer at the bottom that the Department of Defense or the Department of the Navy don't, endorse your candidacy, that's a violation. There's a DOD directive on that. And I've looked at your website. I have
The
basically,
website that no longer exists,
I've screenshot it all. It doesn't mean it's not a violation.
it no longer exists.
Okay, well, I hope that's your defense if the Navy brings charges, and here's why. Because when you read the DOD directive, it's a lawful direct, it becomes a lawful direct order. That's at the end of the DOD directive, which means there's a potential Article 92 violation of the UCMJ.
A potential, because that photo was never taken by me.
Doesn't matter who
Just
took
because
it.
it's posted on there by a media firm doesn't mean it was mine.
Well, that's naive on your part because it's posted on your official
And it's
campaign
pretty
website.
petty. It's pretty petty to come after me over.
Oh, I don't think it's petty. And let me tell you this, you're talking to a retired colonel who has been to every judge advocate school there is, who has been a judge advocate overseas, has prosecuted terrorists in Iraq. I know these rules and regulations better than you do, and the U.S. Department of Defense.
One-sided. You never spoke with me, and I have all kinds of stuff we can just speak about this.
Then let me know. Let me know when you want to sit down and speak. I'll be happy to address it. In fact, if you want a public forum on it, I'll be happy to address it that way. Anyway, the bottom line is this. I have no issue with people in polite discourse addressing issues of government. Budgets, housing issues, roads, schools, drainage, all that kind of stuff. That's not a problem. But this has gone way too far because all the subterfuge, all these things that have happened, this is not the way government's supposed to operate. And it offends me because I spent good time in uniform protecting the rights of everybody here to have a fair government. And I just don't like the fact that it's getting, sort of the kind of attention it's gotten unfairly the way it's going. Yes, ma'am.
Are you one of our reserve officers or are you one of our part-time officers?
I am a reserve officer.
That's what I figured.
I seen you at the festival and I thought I saw you.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
about
And that's
that
another way I
connection?
get to the
Rest in
community.
partiality.
How about that connection?
I do it for free.
Look.
So do
if
I.
it counts
So
as
do I.
right, then why did they change it? Why is it highlighted right here?
What highlight?
Exactly. 'Cause you never
What?
sat
I
down
didn't
with
hear your
us.
question. What was
Exactly,
highlighted?
because you never sat down with us to talk about this. And you can be there deceiving the public.
Colby, have you sat down and talked with
Yes, I did.
anybody?
And 10 officers came in that meeting that we were supposed to sit down. 10 officers along with a representative from the DA's office, Iowa, and a meeting that should have been civilized, but no, we were ambushed.
No, you were
All
not.
in a show.
You were not ambushed, you were just,
Mr.
You
Owens,
were very rude.
did we not speak in a phone call and you agreed that you were ambushed as well?
you've been an alderman as long as all of us, and you could have gone and talked to Marcus and
People show up with
anybody
a point
else
of
and
view,
asked questions
And
about how
you
this
just have to sit there,
works.
and sometimes they're gonna not be in line with you, and you just,
You've never
everybody has
asked
the
a
right to their
question,
opinion.
only made accusations.
That's all I did is
Never-
ask questions. Go back and listen to the media report. I was never on the media, first of all. I was making my way in between classes, but go back. All it says
Marcus,
is
how
he
many times
questions
did
and
he go to
account.
your office and ask you questions
Whoa, wait a
about
minute.
that?
Everybody is out of order. You need to
Okay.
control
Yeah,
this meeting.
when us from the audience start talking like you talking, let's not say order.
Okay,
Order,
and stop it.
thank you.
In any event, I came here in good faith. Nobody's retained me, nobody's paid me anything to come here and speak, but I pay substantial taxes in this parish. I have a deep love for this parish, I love to hunt and fish. I'm at the point, but I'll tell you this, maybe it's 10 good years of a Catholic education, but when I see something wrong, I'm the first person to stand up and point it out. Thank you, council, thank you, members of the audience, for your courtesy.
Okay, next I'd like to call, Todd to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two items on the agenda this evening. The first is, I know that you have a budget to approve for the town this evening. Part of that budget should be accommodating an increase in salary for a police chief, and that is for a full raise, not a partial now and more later. He has certainly earned it over the last 40 years prior to this administration, and continues to be a good leader of law and order in our community. Part of the budget should also allow for some increase in officer pay. Oh, I've heard that they are just small-town officers, but I offer to you that they put their life on the line just as other officers in larger cities. In fact, they answer the same call that in larger cities would send in their SWAT teams. As I see it, they do the following: accident investigations, narcotic officers, homicide investigations, public relations, crisis intervention and negotiators, fugitive apprehension, highway interdiction, evidence control, and the list goes on. So, keep that in mind as you direct the police budget to allow for these necessities. And the second item. I'm not an accountant, nor am I an auditor, nor do I pretend to be. I do, however, have a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, and as such can read, reason, and listen to others about what is right and fair. This event that is causing so much frustration in our community about a line item for this special account created for the police department, deposited in the town's general fund from the traffic enforcement detail, otherwise known as TED, needs to be resolved and understood, especially by one of you here, who has stated, and I quote, "The account is improper and the town is violating state law by maintaining it, all to cover up the facts." Well, here are the facts, and I have 6 of them. The former town council in 2014 agreed to set money aside for police equipment purchases and maintenance. This separate account is treated as part of the general fund, and it needs to have an identity as a line item for this in the budget. Number 2, the account was reviewed by the auditors since then with no problem. Number 3, the district attorney of Jefferson Davis Parish has stated in this meeting just last month that there is nothing illegal or improper by the way the separate account was created for police equipment and maintenance. Number 4, I know this man, the town attorney. He is a man of impeccable honesty and integrity. He would not lead this town down the wrong path, and is somewhat of a slap in the face for someone to say that the account is improper and the town is violating state law by maintaining it. Number 5, I have read opinion 15-0104 from the State Attorney General dated December the 18th, 2015, who reviewed the TED account and concluded that, and I quote, "The funds generated by the Welsh Police Department from its TED must be deposited in the town's general fund and remain within control of the mayor, town clerk, and treasurer. The town may choose to establish a separate account within the general fund to hold these funds." And just last week, finally, the town officials called the state legislative auditor, who stated there's nothing wrong with what they were doing. Perhaps after all of these facts, we can move forward. You have failed to live up to the promise to promote cooperation within the town government. Your accusations are unfounded. Similar to what I said last month in my address to this council, all you have done is awaken some sleeping giants in this community and fill them with the terrible resolve. And that's where we stand now. Thank you, Mayor, for giving me the opportunity to exercise my right, freedom of speech.
Okay, next we're gonna,
I would like to respond. You're correct. You can have an additional account attached to general fund. But just because there's money in it, that does not mean that that is the chief of police's money. There is nowhere in the budget that it carries over year after year. The $179,000 that was in that account, that was not the chief's money. There has to be an ordinance for the chief to access the money, which on this budget, you can clearly see it's altered by $100,000. They presented this to us after the fact. Don't let them tell you half the story.
Why didn't
Wait.
you do this before?
you need to come in
Bring
and
it up
find out
before.
how that's done.
No, I can explain.
Okay, wait, I'll let the clerk explain.
The last meeting, before y'all even talked about approving the budget, Ronnie said that we needed to add in a line item for whatever he would want to spend this upcoming year. So he told me that he wanted to spend $100,000 in vehicle purchases from the TED account. So that's why I added $100,000 to that to equal $169,000. So you were aware to vote on it. This happened the last meeting and I gave you a new copy of it for this meeting. Before, it wasn't always budgeted what we were gonna spend in it because we didn't know if we were gonna spend anything anyway. And it falls in the 5% rule to amend the budget if something would happen. If you would have something major go on and he would need to spend money in that account say with the flood, we lost 3 cop cars. We would come to you guys and amend the budget to buy 3 cop cars, and it would be amended in general fund because that money is part of general fund. And when you saying that that money is not accounted for, the fund balances at the bottom of the budget where it makes your budget balance, that money is included in those fund balances. So,
But he is 13% over budget this year. So
Well, that's not-
that
that's-
theory you just presented to us doesn't work.
babe, look, that money in that account was set aside for improvements in the police department. And just because he's over budget, that's
Every
up,
year.
that's up to
Every
y'all.
year.
But wait, that's up to y'all to make a decision in here to move that money to use for his budget right now. It was set up the other way, so don't criticize us because the money's sitting there not using, he's over budget. I mean, the budget was amended every year to let him continue using the money in general fund and not that money, because that was set aside for improvements for the police department. But
Amended
anyway,
after the checks were written. And then you're getting huge percentages like 13, 17% last
I
year.
know, but that's up to y'all to not amend the budget or say that money's gonna have to cover that. It was set up a different way, but if you're
But
mad because he.
No. Here's the thing, when we had the 3 budget meetings, which I really think we should have had more to go over everything, because this is very vague. This is really vague, you know, I've talked to 2 prior elected officials and they told us we should have been sitting there for weeks. But,
That's how
Here's
it
the
was
thing.
going when I was
Well,
done the whole time, that's how it was
I
done previous
disagree
years.
with it. But here's
So
the
if-
thing, when we were talking about this, what did you do? You slammed your fist on the table and you got up and walked away.
I didn't walk
So,
away.
yes, you did. Did you walk away?
I walked away to get.
Cussing, you know the chief, no, you don't have the right to speak.
You can speak later. What you need to do is.
Speak later, exactly, because you wanna do a show in front of the media.
Cody.
No, let me speak.
Well, I did not.
Some of the problem is, Colton, because of the way you're acting right now, and towards her, or towards everybody here, it's kind of disrespectful what you're doing. I get attacked by all these people, I answer questions, I get questions brought to me all the
Is a
time.
recall on you?
Kobe,
Is
we
there-
can't.
Listen to me,
No, they're
listen
not.
to me, listen, Colton, did you go and talk to the chief and find out why he was over budget?
We did.
I'll give you a whole stack of papers to look at, right?
Yes, and I would review those stacks
Overtime,
of paper.
extra insurance,
Overtime on
everything.
officers who were never even at the office working.
They got claiming on that.
No, that's.
That's not true. May 18th, the Board of Ethics will review.
They have,
No, proof, look at here.
he has numbers on everything, Colton.
Look at here, it's written down. An
Yeah,
employee on
okay.
mandatory military drill duty is legally paid normal payroll hours. There is no law that says that, in fact.
Why didn't you bring those papers to us so we can research?
Why,
to see
why
if
didn't you
they're
ask
true?
him about it?
Because when we bring stuff to you, you always contradict everything. You are always right, everything. Y'all
You've
are-
never brought anything to me.
Don't bring it to her.
You've
The
never
man
brought it
sits
to
right
me.
there, why don't you ask him face to face?
So you're telling me it's illegal, you're telling me it's illegal to pay an officer that we have that goes to training for reserve.
If it's not a part of your
training, right?
policy, it is.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to pay.
Here's the papers, Marcus.
When did you learn about that?
When you provided me these papers last.
So that's when you learned
I
that they
gave you,
shouldn't
I
be
gave
paid?
you, hold up. At the meeting, I had multiple stacks of papers to provide you. You never read them. That's your fault.
Did you ever hand all those things to me?
Yes, I did. I
You
did. In
handed
fact,
them
I
all to
left
me.
some on the table for you.
Did you tell me all those things were in there, I needed to look at them?
You didn't even wanna look.
You
just
didn't
wanted
wanna look
cuss
either,
at us.
you turned around and put your back to me and
You just
refused to
wanted to
talk
cuss
to me.
at us.
Okay, let's move on. This is not getting- Well, all right,
I'm all good for teamwork. I wanna work for the best of this.
So what would you have to do?
Excuse me, I called Marcus 4 weeks ago after we met at the last meeting. I was like, let's see what we can do to get together, and you told me that you gave the stuff to Stephanie, which is a letter here from the 4th of April, but with everything else that went on, I guess, it just got
It was on my desk that day.
pushed aside,
And so
but.
I
You
just
asked
waited
me,
to-
what can we do to
And
get
I
forward, move
even,
forward with
Mr.
this?
Mayor came
And I
around, and I was
said,
like, we
I
need to get
presented the
together
budget.
to try to.
I presented the budget to Stephanie, she's presented it to y'all. You asked what it was that Bob wanted to know. I said, I'm not sure. Bob has not directly asked me for anything that I'm
And I
not sure
figured
of.
we needed
But I
to
said,
get
let me know
together so
whatever
we
I
can
can
do
do
this.
for you, just call me. And I have not heard a phone call.
And no one's
I called
Yeah,
you.
you did.
I
You
did.
did call me.
We
Yeah.
agreed to have a budget meeting at the request
No one's
of the
called.
third one. We agreed to have a budget meeting. What happened? 10 officers
No.
came there. Representatives from the DA's office, Iowa, it turned into a big old
No,
mess.
they came from Iowa because you went to the
Yeah, why
to the
was-
mayor
why
of
was-
Iowa and asked
And I
about
don't
their
have the
budget.
right to
It's,
research.
no,
And we
that's
don't
not
have the
what I'm
right to
saying.
bring somebody to a public budget meeting.
They don't have the right to comment like that. They were all.
They came to tell you how they
And we
got
came here
their money.
because I heard through the grapevine that the officers' salaries was not gonna get approved, and that was my agenda. That was my only agenda. You turned to me about an illegal TED account and other,
13% over budget. I have to ask questions. Am I not supposed to ask questions?
and I provided a paper of everything that I'm over budget on the table, did I not? And how many times did you look at it?
I have
Zero.
it. I have it.
You
I
have it
looked
now
at it
because
all.
Booker came to my office and printed it for you, Colby.
It was in this packet. I have multiple copies of it.
I'm better than that.
Actually, every alderman should ask questions, and not only should he ask questions, but he should do individual research. It's not every time that we can call a meeting and have something together.
And we should receive
So why
documents
shouldn't
as
we
well.
each make
You ask for it, you
a
receive it.
forward effort to go
Yes, I
and
did.
talk and
And
find out the facts? And that way, when we do have a meeting, everybody comes together and is on the same understanding. But you do have to put a little legwork into it. You do have to go and have individual conversations with these department heads. Whether it's the police department, the fire department, the recreation department,
Okay.
the public works department.
When did you know the legislative auditor contacted the town and told them they didn't find any wrongdoings with it?
We contacted the
Today.
legislature.
Why did we know
I
about all
came here
this?
He
today.
came
Because
and
y'all asked to have an opinion. for the
Right,
next
no, I'm
meeting, so I
asking
had
him, when
to-
did he
He
find out?
came and talked to us. He
I
came
came
here
Well,
today.
yeah,
I got
earlier
off
today.
work early, and I came here
and
to
asked.
find out, because I mean,
Yeah.
And I
Anyway,
didn't-
it's,
Do you have it in writing, the opinion from the
City
legislature?
Hall is not far.
Who did you
It's
speak to,
not a far
Mr.
trip.
Mike Bauer?
I talked to Mr. Mike Battle, but I also.
Because he says,
I'm gonna read what I have. The past 2 weeks, I spoke to the legislative auditor's office several times. I first contacted them by email, and my email was forwarded to an auditor named Brian Nettles. He called me and we talked for a while with me explaining how the account works and answering his questions, like, if it was part of the general fund, if the money is approved by the council to be transferred to this account, is the money non-restricted, so if something would happen that the town needed the money, it could be then put back into wherever it needed to be used. So it's not a restricted account. It is non-restricted to where it can be used for anything if y'all vote on it and say it needs to be used other ways. He told me that he didn't see anything wrong with what we were doing and that each town handles their processes in different ways. He said that he did not see a problem with setting aside money for improvements for a department. He said it was not their practice to give a written opinion if they didn't see anything wrong with what we were doing and did not have anything to refer me to make changes on how we were handling things. I asked if he could at least email me back saying that he couldn't give me a written opinion because he saw no wrongdoing and he said he would check with his director to see. I did not hear from him for about a week, so I called him back. Again, he told me all the same things, but he also said that he called our town auditor and questioned everything I told him and spoke to the auditor's boss, who usually comes to perform the audit here in Welsh. And she was aware of everything and said that they had done 2 audits since this was put in place and had found no wrongdoing. I again stressed that I would love to have something in writing, but he again stated that it was not a practice of theirs. I then saw on a paper that you mentioned that Mike Battle said that it was unhealthy. So the mayor, the chief, and myself called Mike Battle yesterday and got him on the phone. And I asked him, why did he say the account was unhealthy? He said, I told Kobe that any account open that does not follow the local budget act would be unhealthy. But if everything is being followed correctly, then you can have other accounts. And we have tons of extra accounts. I don't understand why this one account is such a big problem. We transfer money into account every a month to pay for our fire truck bond. We fixing to get 2 other bonds, and we have 2 accounts set up for that, to put money into it to pay every month. It is all still part of general fund. We have all these accounts all the time. I don't understand why this one's such a big deal. Anytime you wanna have savings to do something better, for a department, you can save up money to do that. Right now, our electrical fund has more money than it's ever had in it, and the mayor and I was just looking at moving money into a savings or something that's already set up in lamp for later, if maybe we need to upgrade the substation again or something like that. It's okay to have more accounts as long as it's accounted for. And every dime in that account is accounted for. I mean, you can, every resolution passed in here to move the money in the account is there. Every, bank statement and every invoice paid is there. You can prove every dime that goes through it, and it's through general fund. When the money is moved into that account, it's a line item that shows, just for record, that that's 60% of what he's getting that year in the budget. Other than that, all the fines received is in a line item in general fund under police fines. And even though we moved that 60%, if you go look in the budget under police fines, it still is the same exact amount. That 60% is not taken away from that. It's still part of the budget. The only thing this other account shows is just for tracking that that 60% went there. If the money is spent out of there, it's then coded to the general fund budget. This year we spent maybe $7,000 in that account, so it's gonna fall in the 5% budget to amend it, which is part of the amendments I gave. But that's why I went ahead and put 100. He needs police cars right now, but with all this drama going on, we didn't want to spend any money out of the account, so he's short police units. So we added the 100,000 into the equipment, not equipment, vehicle purchases line item that you have now to cover these cars. When June 1st gets here, you can go pay for them, because I didn't want that to be a big deal to have to amend the budget for that, because it's such a big deal over this account. This account has caused me so much stress, my family so much stress over
That's all part of
something.
the job, though. But
Put that on yourself.
in his repair and maintenance, like if he go out and say buy new tires for the police car, does that come out of the accounts payable, or does it come out of that?
It comes out of that checkbook, but it is coded into a line item in the budget.
Right.
But the money is still showing, like the fund balance at the bottom, you still account for in your savings that you have that money. You know,
Okay.
when you go to balance the budget for general fund, it may not, your expenditures, your revenues may be less than your expenditures, because you're not gonna make that much money in the year, but your fund balance at the bottom showing that we have savings will make
No,
up
and I
that
was just
difference. So
asking
that's what.
because, like, it's for repair and maintenance, I just want to make sure that it wasn't coming out of the general fund accounts payable and not
It's
being
not coming out
deducted
of-
from out of the repair and maintenance.
No,
It's all
it
coded,
has
it's
its
all
own check.
coded to my operating budget for tracking purposes. my
But it
budget.
does have its own checkbook, that's
Right.
that's the reason we have it on the checkbook. So it
Right.
doesn't come out of general fund funds, it comes out of those funds.
Okay.
And so we have all that to prove, but those funds are still part of general fund. At the end of the day, when you do your audit, that is general fund. Then, you have your electrical, water, sewer, and stuff like that. But I also, with all this mess over this account, when this was put into effect in 2014, before my time, and when I got here, I was just taught on how everything works, and I never saw anything wrong with it for me to question it, and then my auditors never questioned me about it to find anything wrong. Now, this big stink that I'm having to get punished for all this, when this was not even something I even put in place, but I stood up for the town to try to make people see that we weren't doing anything wrong. And I want to share a few things with you before they move on decide what they're gonna do. In 2 years of me being employed here, along with the mayor, the chief, and my whole staff, we've done a lot of things, and, one of them was upgrading the substation, which people, when I first got here, we had the TV station here complaining, all the people were complaining because their electricity kept going out, this and that. Well, the town that before couldn't afford to do it. Well, I'm like, well, let's do it. So we did that. The police department has done upgrades. They have got more police, units because of that TED fund. We repaired Nickel Street, Bridge twice. We've paid out 2 bonds. Before my time, the emergency fund, there was funds, that were used at that time because bills, they couldn't pay their bills. The town was in bad shape. Well, as of today, we had to put money back in to get it back to over $1 million. Today, it's $1,001,425.66. So also the emergency fund is back to over $1 million. We've purchased a street sweeper. We've upgraded the park. We are in the process of getting a new garbage truck, a groundwater storage tank, and our current balance in light and water, it depends on the week on when we pay LEPA or the bills. It ranges from over $1 million to 900 and something dollars. And let me give you some figures so you can see how bad the town, the shape it was before I did get here. And I'm not taking all the credit. This is the mayor, the police chief, and my staff, and everybody working together to make this town better. The balance of light and water as of January 2012 had $92,752.32. That can't even pay a LEPA bill. A LEPA bill is we buy electricity from LEPA to provide electricity to y'all. That won't even pay one electricity bill. The balance as of January 2013, $127,535.62. The balance as of January of 2014, $72,931.94. The balance as of January 2015, $301,622.48. The balance of January 2016, $533,963.47. And the balance of January 2017 at $868,958.99. And if I'm putting my hand in a cookie jar like I was being told I was doing or anything else, I wouldn't have nothing to show for this. And if you look at the numbers before I was here until today, I mean, it proves it. So
I did want to say,
I just
add to what Stephanie said before we move on. I was very excited in January when we got a new crew in. I mean, I hate losing the last crew, but we got a new crew in. I was very excited to start the new year because we are doing well financially, working very, very hard, and financially we do, and we're able to do it. But we're just, you can see, as a council sitting here, we just can't do anything.
Not when it's one-sided. Not when it's one-sided. We represent the people.
Yes, see, the argument should not be between us in front of all of these people.
I asked the legislative auditors to give me something writing because I know you requested that. I tried my best, but that's why I wanted to.
And believe me, by all means, I never accused you of putting your hand in the cookie jar. I never accused Marcus. It was just wanting to know from the last council, why was this ever set up? Because nobody knew.
Well,
And that was the
they
whole-
voted on it. We can probably.
No one can explain it. And all I did was ask a question.
Oh, no, you didn't ask the question. You slammed the paper on the desk and you said, what about this illegal county?
Exactly, what about it, the account?
You accused me of doing this illegal.
That's not
not what happened, it is more than just a question. You originally started this, you
Well, then you should've come- you should've explained it.
no, Colby, you accused my husband of having a whole separate account, okay? A whole different account, and then it got brought up, oh, well, it's
Because
not
you
his
should
separate
never
account.
explain it.
No, it's not his separate account, it all goes into general fund.
Stop, let's go, let's move on. Thank y'all, that's okay.
I will say, can I say one more thing?
Okay.
If we budget the police department correctly for the expenditures, for the future, and for growth, we won't have these over budget problems, and that's our job. It's not to put a restriction on the police department, it's to grow the police department, because that happens first, growth happens.
And it never was to say, the whole situation of us meeting was, let's just make sure that everybody stays in line with their budget.
No, great.
It was
That's
not
great.
to stop
But
you.
I wanna make
No
it
one is
very
against
clear,
the police
I wanna make it
department.
very clear that I have tried my best, okay? My best to stay within the budget this year. However, I have had my secretary document every dollar that is spent here. Every dollar that was beyond my control. And I'm not gonna sit here and mention every little dollar because it could be to ambulance rides, to, $20,000 for a insurance thing, or $10,000 for a civil suit.
And that was
happened
my whole
before me.
purpose
So there-
of.
No, but
making
I
the
am
letter so
over
we
budget,
can-
and I don't hide or run from the fact that I am over budget. However, I am over budget on things I cannot control. It would be I'll gladly take an axe in the back if I'm buying helicopters, army tanks. Do you see any of these things? Our cars barely run half the time. It's very stressful, very, very stressful.
And believe me, my
And this
response
account-
was not to say that, oh, Marcus just spending money.
No,
to
but
spend.
that's how these conversations on social media are led off to be.
And it's all
that is
getting,
not- that is
thrown
not.
out of whack
You're
because
very,
it was that
very
we were
correct.
against
Very
your
correct.
office was
too
getting
much
raised, and that
Facebook.
is not so.
No
It's all
one
about
was
just
against
saying,
any
let's
officer.
Too
try
much
to.
Facebook.
We try to stay.
Everything is on Facebook about this
It's
town.
hard to do that when you're providing a public service to people, okay? When you call, we come.
It is.
We don't ask no questions, you hear me?
Right,
You
and
call,
we all,
come.
we ran for office to represent and work for the citizens. We
And
ran for chief to
I ran for
protect us.
chief to do 100%, and I've come here and I've given 120% blood, sweat, and tears, and these officers and men and women behind me work their ass off, excuse my
Marcus, this is directed to you. I appreciate the job you do, because every time I've come and asked you
language. I
about
appreciate you.
it, you gave me a stack of paper, you showed me what was getting spent out of this account, where it was getting spent, the overtime, the extra insurance that we had to pay, the lawsuits that we had to pay out on, everything was in that package you give me. And I appreciate it.
But the thing is his budget is competitive with other municipalities.
That's why we have to amend this budget to take care of these
But he's getting more
officers.
money than neighboring municipalities.
We're not,
I don't care about highway, I don't care about the department, I care about what.
okay, we're gonna move on down to, proposition number 265. It's an ordinance amending, adopting, enacting the budget of 2012. This is a public hearing now. We will listen. Does anyone have anything to say on the budget? Okay. Debbie, any motions?
Real quick. We were accused that we were against the police department. That was never the thing. When the
Thank you,
chief-
Bob.
When the chief first talked to us about, he wanted to give his guys raise, he gave us a number. Well, when we saw the numbers, they were bigger, we asked the question, and everybody thought it was, and it was a miscommunication. Chief, weren't the numbers different?
Yes, they were.
And we didn't know
And
why.
they were based on,
And we said,
on
why
the
they
40-hour week. I have officers that work 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And I have officers that work 8-hour shifts.
And that was the-
calculated on a 40-hour work week across the board, when some of them should have been calculated 40-hour and 20/80 because of the 12-hour shifts.
And he didn't figure in FICA, workman's comp, and
Right.
all the whole.
But you
And,
understood.
and I don't do the FICA.
But you understood that
I
you,
present
what you
to
told
the
us, the number, why we, and that was our only thing, and that was it got blown out of proportion that we were, and that's not what it was. It's, one number was bigger than the other number, and why is it bigger? We got that settled, we're happy.
And plus you had a brand new, set of aldermen.
Yeah.
The last alderman that was just left out should have, got rid of that. Should have
Well,
passed whatever they had to do.
This proposed budget increases the police chief's budget $253,282, a 25.9% across his budget total increase. This should help the police chief, A, give raises. It should help the police chief, B, not be over budget next year.
Amen.
Because it'll give him some more money for that, okay? We're up here trying to do a good job, okay? We asked a question and it got blown out, and I apologize for that. But I will tell you that with an increase like this, you should be able to give the raises that you want. It should give you the money to buy the police cars you want, and it should help keep you from being over budget.
And I'm gonna say.
And I understand that some things are and we know that. And that's what the 5% and the larceny is for, is because they understand that. But this should help you be closer to the 5% than the 13%, okay?
Do the best we can.
I understand, Chief,
And service.
and nobody is slamming you, I understand. But this should help you.
Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing. I have a motion on Ryan, do we have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, moving on down to, the next is a resolution to transfer, we talked about this last time, we deferred it till we checked with the legislative auditor, and that's about transferring funds from general fund to the Rush Police Equipment Maintenance Bank account. This is the 60% that he earns, the police department earns, and before we can move it into that special account, the council has to approve it. So
Yes.
that's what I'm asking to do. Do I have a motion to
Yes.
transfer those funds? I have a motion by Rodney,
I'll say.
I have a second by Bob. Roll call. Andre King.
Yes.
Ronnie Drum,
Yes.
Mark Beard,
Yes.
Cody Terry,
Yes.
Bob Owen.
Yes.
The next is to advertise the bids for the replacement of broken sewer crossing of East Bayou Lacassine project. This is a grant that we've gotten to repair that crossing of that sewer, that large pipe that carries sewer across the bayou. It's time now to get the bids, but we have to pass a resolution to do so. So do I have a motion to,
I make a motion, we advertise for bids.
okay, I have a motion by Bob, a second by Gruber, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the next is to introduce and set a public hearing to proposition number 266. Okay, this, what I'm getting ready to speak about is, it's the, mutual warehouse that we're looking to, it's an ordinance to surplus and immovable property and, to authorize the town of Welsh to lease or private sale. We're looking at, this, we're talking about the mutual warehouse, not the, parking lot, that's for the thing. But for someone to, have a business in it, and if they decide to buy it, that we'd be able to sell it. So we have to,
This is the part besides the mechanic shop area.
well, the mechanic shop is no longer in there, so it is the whole building, and they will, it's the whole building.
The whole building.
Basically 3/4 of that block.
Yeah.
South half
Yeah.
and the back part of the block. East half.
On, it says block 1 through 4, and then 7 and 8. Does that include this back section? Right behind where we are, the parking lot for the, can we eliminate that one so we can keep that land
We,
and sell along just the buildings?
Yeah.
I know we want the parking lot for the, you know,
Well,
that's.
my thing was, if we sell all this, it would take in some of that grassy area behind the parking lot we have now. If you want to get rid of all that.
figure out what they need, but
We'll
this
have
was
to
the way it
figure
was
out
told
what
to
they
me to
do.
begin
Yeah.
with, so
This
that's
is
why
the
I
way to-
framed
we
it that
can-
way.
We can figure it out.
But
We
if they
can
don't
go
need
ahead and
that-
surplus,
So it's a surplus, but you need.
and then we can.
Well, we just introduced it.
Just introducing the ordinance.
Yeah,
Right.
public hearing
This
next
is
time
fine.
about it.
Well, I make a motion that we go ahead and set a public hearing for,
Introducing the ordinance.
right.
Okay, so I have a motion by Bob, second by Rod, all in favor? Any opposed?
And that'll be for June the sixth.
Yeah. The next is, for adoption, proposition number 265, ordinance 769, an ordinance amending, adopting, and enacting a budget for the town of Welsh. I have a motion by Rodney,
So,
I have a second by
the hearing?
Brooke. Roll call. Mayor Longstreet?
I didn't hear.
This proposition, this is to enhance the raises or his
Just like
budget?
you had, whatever you have, I gave you your packet.
it does include
That's
that.
all that.
One question, Marcus,
Yes.
before this, do we have a resignation letter from your past assistant chief, or do you have two assistant
I
chiefs?
have one assistant chief.
Okay, we need a letter
A letter for what?
from your resignation from your last, the past council didn't get a letter, and we didn't get a letter.
As far as I know, they don't have to provide you with a letter.
You what?
As far as I know, they don't have to provide you with a letter.
I think yes, you supposed to. Rick, or you, if a person steps down from their position, are they supposed to submit a letter? He's supposed to submit a
If
letter.
somebody resigns, you can't force them to submit a letter.
He
If they
didn't-
resign and leave.
I didn't say he forced me to resign.
No, but you can't, if somebody resigns, you can't force them to give you a letter. They're wrong.
The chief,
The chief has to make a recommendation whether to fire him or not.
but didn't you tell the past council that someone stepped down from assistant chief, and now you have a new chief, so,
Correct.
so it just goes as verbal? I mean, cause like if we include, vote on these new raises, on the books, it's considered that person is still an assistant chief.
If I decide to take somebody and transfer them from the dispatcher's, communications department to patrol, I have to do nothing in here. That's within my department. I have every right to move anybody at any given time.
Okay, I
Motions have
guess
to be
the
brought
rules
before
must
the
change
council.
every year, I mean, all right, that's fine. That's what I wanted to know.
Larson says promotions go to the council.
It used to be that way.
I'm saying no
Hiring,
because
firing,
I'm
promotion,
not
disciplinary
including
action.
something, so mine is no.
Roll
Yeah.
call.
Andre?
No.
And
Yes.
Ronnie? Lauren? Kobe?
No.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay, that being done. The next is old business, Larry Cox abandonment on Willard Street, not Willard Street, Baldwin Street, Baldwin Street. This is something we talked about, did y'all go by and look at the spot where it is? Yeah, yeah, the driveway, so, right,
It
so.
never went all the way to the other,
Yeah.
to Pine Street, so everyone has access to their properties from others.
So do I have a motion to go ahead and abandon that street? I have a motion by Brooke,
I'll second.
second by Bob. Roll call.
Andre King?
Yes.
Ronnie Tron? Mark Beard? Kobe Terry?
Yes.
Bob Owen?
Yes.
Okay, under new business, Marcus hiring of a full-time patrolman.
I have Miss Keisha Williams here with me tonight. She's applied for the full-time patrol position. I recommend we hire her with a 90-day probationary period.
And she's got our,
Yes, she's posted, yes,
so
sir.
I make a motion, we accept the
I
chief's
have a motion
recommendation.
by Bob,
I second.
second by Andre. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the next, Aaron Fontenot, abandonment of West South Street. Where's Aaron? I know he's here. Way in the back.
All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Aaron Fontenot here. I'm a husband, father of 3 little girls. I live on the end of South Street, which is this street right here.
I just recently purchased my parents' old homestead. It got flooded out. I'm gonna tear it down this year. There is a piece of gravel road that is the tail end of South Street. It's approximately 350 to 400 feet long. It's a liability to the town, just as having to keep the gravel going and all that. I've actually been grading with my own tractor the past few years, just to keep mom and them happy. Same thing with the ditch, you know, the town does come spray around up, but I also have a tractor and I also cut. I'm willing to take over all those responsibilities. As our town attorney knows, he can vouch that I own the land all the way around it. There's no reason for anyone to go down there. I've had trouble with people going down there, going to the bayou, they slice my hoot nets. They dump their crawfish traps. I can go into more graphic detail of what I've also run into, if I don't want to. And what I would like to do is have this piece of gravel road from Carter Street west abandoned, and I want to put a gate right there, because there's absolutely no business for anybody to go down there. And I appreciate y'all's support if y'all would abandon this road, and I would thank y'all for y'all's vote. I appreciate it.
I make a motion to abandon the road for Mr. Bud.
Okay, I have a motion by Andre that we abandon the road, the second, Rodney, roll call.
Andre King,
Yes.
Rodney Trumbull,
Yes.
Lawrence Mears.
Man, that's old stomping ground.
Motion carried.
Yes.
And Bob Oakley.
Yes.
Oh, you won.
Hot dog.
100%. Sean Prudhomme, first annual Welsh promo reunion was to block streets and left open container. Where's Sean? Tell us your problem.
We just we're having a reunion, a Welsh reunion, and we're just coming here to have that lifted so we can have us a good old
So you're
time.
recording.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a bunch of families that's coming together that haven't been home in a while, they all wanna come home.
I think, where's the chief? Do you think? We need to find out, they wanna, block a street and,
In front of the,
for their
We
reunion.
have an ongoing issue with this. When we start blocking streets for private parties, it's gonna end up creating a problem. If something happens and we have to get a fire truck, or an ambulance, or a police vehicle down there, or we have a person that's intoxicated, or somebody that refuses to stop, and we engage in a pursuit with this individual, and we come across this, it is very unsafe.
It's
Very
on the street right in front of the park,
I understand
everything
that.
around it. We'll have a lot of kids, because we having stuff.
Tell me where it's at first before I give you it.
Richmond Park
Okay, so
Where,
what street?
New Jerusalem to,
to Jones.
Jones United Methodist Church,
So you're talking about the street that's just on the west side of the church?
in front of the church, the street in front of the church. in front,
I
that's
know
it.
that the church puts on a function, a community outreach function. Something like that, of that nature, yeah, we should do stuff like that, and we're gonna have to put barricades, we're gonna have to put police. I know we do MLK and we do something else, and I'm always in support of all this.
Well, this is just our first
However,
annual
but when
Welsh
we
and
do-
Roanoke reunion. We used to have a school here called Bethune. We have a lot of those members that have not been home in a long time. We're not calling it a Bethune reunion because I think there's an organization that was open a while back that used to have this, so we didn't wanna interfere
Y'all are
with that.
so close to
So we're
Richmond
calling
Park, or so close to Bethune Park there, or maybe Richmond that have concession, or, bathrooms. Is there any possible way, I'm just gonna ask, any possible way that we can move this stuff from the street?
It's
Okay?
not gonna be
It's
on the
not
street.
on the street, we
It's
just,
gonna be on
because
the park.
we're gonna have
Because
kids.
the kids with the
And
jumps.
if a car passing in front of that, that's the only reason. We're
Yeah,
not
it's on
having
the
it
park.
on the street, it's actually on the park, but there will be a lot of families with their kids and younger kids. So we figured if we just do that one block right there, that could at least, help out.
Everything's gonna be
Because
inside
everything's
the
around it,
baseball
yeah,
field.
it'll
Yeah.
be open.
And
This
the
is
thing
like
gonna
what
be-
Jennings put up, like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just gonna be,
come here.
everything's gonna be on Richmond Park, yeah, we was just looking at some kids.
can I suggest something? Instead of stopping traffic, can we just put some barricades out there or maybe warn people that they're coming up on this or whatnot instead of blocking traffic?
I mean, there's a lot of other functions that has been blocked for recently that I didn't see a problem with it and didn't have this issue. We just.
So wait,
What is that?
Wait, so you
There's a lot of
saying
functions
to
they
do
have.
like a banner ahead of where we at to slow the traffic down?
Well,
Is that what you're
I think
saying?
the city will provide barricades and whatnot.
Okay, Chief, I have a question. Would this meet both of y'all? If we blocked off half the street, that we leave half the street open, and then put the barricades where that gives them a little buffer area, but we're leaving one lane stay open, would that help?
No, the street is open just in front of the park. You can turn before the park, come around and still come up. You only have.
But I understand what the chief is saying,
So he doing half of it.
okay? To allow access of people coming through, but you're still giving you the buffer, is that
We're gonna have to provide the right to pass. You're gonna have to provide that.
Excuse me.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that you're leaving one lane open that can go.
May I interject something here?
That's great, that's fine. We just can't have people standing on the road.
We won't have
Right.
anyone
No,
standing on the road.
there's nobody gonna be standing on the road.
Everything is on the park.
Yeah, everything is on the park. It's just that we're giving the kids tournaments and stuff, and they will be able to cross over that way to get on the sidewalk to walk to Bethune Park without having to worry about a car because they
We
will
can
be.
put some barricades up that can maybe slow traffic down. Yeah, we can do something, we can do something to help, other than slow the road. If I gotta increase patrol right there from a certain time to a certain time to meet your needs, let me know, I'll do it. But I have to get this information to relay the information. So, now keep in mind, during the daytime, we have one police officer here, so if he has another call or we're stuck doing something, you may not see him for an hour or two.
Excuse me, Chief. Can we just treat it sort of like, this isn't a private party per se.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Jennings hometown reunion? This is, in the same fashion as that.
I understand, we really need to sit down and organize an ordinance of set rules of do's and don'ts.
Yes.
And we go off our ordinance, not on whatever we think and whatnot.
On dogs.
We have to, number one, we have to think safety first, safety first.
And that's what we're trying to think
I sure don't
about.
wanna go to your party and say, I apologize, but we chased this guy here, do it your family.
That's all we're thinking about is kids safety because these families will have a lot of kids that will have kids that will be cooking. And that's all we're thinking about is the kids' safety with them cross, if, being even at the edge of the road, a car coming and a child's at the edge of the road. Mind there's a lot of people out there.
What are the times? I still need to get the times.
What day?
8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
So we're looking at 11 hours.
Yeah.
That is a
The
very
same-
long.
And it might not last that long. We just gave a time frame for once everybody
Because
starts
we were
coming
utilizing
into
the
town.
park,
What day of the week is that?
It's on a Saturday.
Okay, LaShonda, y'all want to open container too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's if somebody, because we know they'll be patrolling, if they would see them on the park, that would give them, that wouldn't get whoever had something in trouble, because I can't control who wants to run it.
For the long term.
You have to introduce an ordinance to suspend milk.
Okay, I need this.
We're not selling anything or nothing like that. No.
We need to establish within the perimeter.
In that certain area.
Yes, yes. Yeah, they get out there and they go in the streets and they do whatever they on their own. They're on their own, just out there on the park.
If it's on the side of the road for parking, have no problem with putting barricades out, warning traffic, people are parked on the side of the road and whatnot, use caution type of deal. But as long as we're not blocking the road, we're not standing in the road and obstruction of the roadway. I don't see a problem having that as long as we do not obstruct the roadway.
If, I can offer a solution, if the chief will approve this, as you know, I'm a reserve officer. I don't cross the town to dime, and I'm certified. I'll volunteer for that for them, Juneteenth, I know it's important too. I'll be happy to do it.
I need to speak with you,
We're
sorry.
gonna, address the open container. We have to,
It's on June or July?
we have to set up a hearing for the next meeting. June 6th, okay.
No, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just making sure that we have a term instead of public speaking.
Okay,
They still have to do it, or so we have to have time to pass it next. That's why.
Okay.
all in favor? Any opposed?
June sixth, come back.
Yeah, we've got that down.
You're lifting the open container for that day?
In the park.
In the park.
Okay.
In the
Only
park.
in the park.
They on their own outside.
Only in Richmond Park.
Thank y'all.
The next, is, on the agenda today, Paul A. Chant is to speak on his part.
Madam Mayor, City Council, press, fellow Welsh citizens. Now, we had a lively meeting here today. Pretty good meeting. We had some pretty good discussion, nice thought-provoking discussion. But there have been some very nasty words being tossed around this town. And that word is recall. That is a very, very slippery slope. I'm gonna tell you why. We don't wanna have any clones up there in that city council. We wanna have independent thinkers up there in that city council. We wanna have people, if they suspect or smell something that's not right, to speak up. If everybody go along and get along, we are in trouble. This gentleman right here, Mr. Kobe Perry, I respect him for one reason only. He smelled something, he thought it wasn't right, he asked questions, and he got stupid answers. So he kept going, and he kept going. Proper dissemination of information amongst you guys, not us. You see, I love this town. I come in here and I speak up for what I believe in. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And I encourage anyone, if they have any questions about any elephant that's sitting in the middle of the room that everybody's talking about, but nobody's talking about it, say something. Invoke discussion. And that's what we did. Look at this council chamber. I've been coming in here since 2010. It's standing room only. It used to be 5 of us. Remember? Look. We here every month with you newcomers. But if we start down that slippery path of recalling someone that we don't agree with, oh, it's very dangerous because every one of you are recallable. You see, we're acting like kids right now. We playing a game, it don't go our way, let's do it over. No, we have what we have. We had an election, the people in the election said we want you, and you. And that's what we got, and that's what we're gonna keep. We didn't say don't fight. We didn't say don't argue. We said have your fights, get over it, and move on. Because you see, it's all about the town of Welsh. It's not about neither one of you. It's not about neither one of you. So let's have these arguments. I come in here, I argue and I fight, and I argue and I fight. I call the mayor a liar. And then after the meeting, we shake hands, we hug. But that's the political process. That's what makes us who we are.
Okay.
And that's what I'm talking about. That word recall, let's throw away from our vocabulary. It's unnecessary, it's childish. Thank you for letting me speak.
The next is Jim Wright on the zoning commission.
Here we go.
I've been trying to meet with each one of you. The zoning commission is required annually to present a report and recommendations, and it's just a requirement in the ordinance. And we've taken this seriously. The zoning commission met during the interim, actually during the last year, the end of the last year. And we worked on a new map for the town, some new recommendations, and some general ideas about issues such as enforcement, which I think has been a problem. Also, the issue of planning, which the commission has sort of been involved in that, but it's really not our role. You know, it's a kind of a role that the town undertook when they first drew the zoning ordinance that we now have. The current zoning ordinance is an excellent instrument for what it is. But it's actually pulled together from many other sources. It has a lot of conflicts in it, and it needs to be readdressed, in our opinion. So what I would expect to bring next time will be something for you all to consider. It will not really be a lot of stuff for you to decide on immediately. It will be something for you to look at and to make decisions about it. And we'll go forward from there, hopefully, to make other decisions. We'll also make some recommendations about procedure, about enforcement, and so forth. So I did want to talk with each of you about that. I've called a couple of you in it. You know, Andre, I can't do this next, but we're going to, I think. Also, you know, relative to procedure, you know, when I come to one of these meetings, I hope I don't see a bunch of people agreeing with one another. That's really what the idea is of this. But I do expect to see is procedure and governance, and not focus on a lot of external and emotional issues that have nothing to do with governing, in my view.
It was done.
Therefore, until we can make some settlement regarding the Constitution in this body, I hope that we can get at least enough votes together to proceed. I'm not talking about agree, I'm talking about proceed with governing. There are some statutory things that you all are required to do, like a budget. You all came up with it tonight, I'm glad. But not having a budget is a violation of state law. It's not just ordinances, it's statutes. So I'm very glad to see you all proceeded. I hope that I can continue to see that happen. It only takes 3 of you and the mayor to govern. I hope that we can get that going in the future. Thank you.
Mr. McCall wrote about you as an individual?
You know, I guess I just want to say
Oh, man. They cut it. You can't have the call. You can't have this.
It's been 30 years.
that's to make sure the state knows that have access to the record. That is my sole goal. I started this 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, after my daughter and granddaughter were killed in a house fire. And the local police department tried to get the records from me.
Doing college live web.
And I sued them, and they still didn't give me the records for 2 years for the death of my daughter and my granddaughter. After that happened to me, I did everything in my power to make sure people like her respect the rights of the citizens in the state of Louisiana to have access to their government and to their public records. They're not their records, they belong to the people. They don't belong to her. They don't belong to the mayor. They don't belong to Mr. McLaughlin or whatever his name is, who phoned my attorney the other day threatening us with a lawsuit and threatening that they were going to file charges against me because they seem to think that I have done something to, I guess, incite people to basically exercise their right to redress their government. First Amendment right, redress your government. This woman acted like a tyrant on a video. And then she's upset because I posted it and people didn't like how she behaved, so they called her and redressed the government. And that's insane. That's insane. People like that, when they say things like that and they act like that, it's because they think that the people in these communities work for them, that we're supposed to go out and we're supposed to spend our little money and pay our little taxes and then keep our mouths shut so that we can just come up here and watch them rubber stamp everything. People need access to the record. I needed access to the record when my daughter and my granddaughter died. I wanted to hire my own investigators because they didn't want to do anything. And there's all kinds of reasons people need to see that. My only goal is to make sure that I do everything I can in these communities that I've been suing to try to get the records without having to sue. I give them every single opportunity. So whenever we have to sue them, when my lawyer files a lawsuit, it's because we've done everything that we can to try to squeeze those public records out of these people. Laughing, won't turn over a police video that we all know is a public record. Won't turn it over. School board, Acadia Parish, won't turn over accident reports for their school bus because it's none of our business what's going on with the private bus company that shuttles our kids to and from. None of our business. Didn't want to give them to them, so I had to sue them. Same with, I think, this is another one of the units out here. We sued the Evangeline sheriff after he wouldn't produce the budget for every media outlet around the state. The Evangeline sheriff wouldn't produce the budget. I sued him. I don't just go around suing people because they're not doing anything wrong. I don't just go around suing people because I'm an angry, crazy person. I sue them because people in this area deserve access to the record. And I'm going to spend my dying breath making sure that happens. That really makes me mad. I had to do that. That is something else. But, it goes with the territory. So, they cannot like me or whatever, but their attitude and their behavior is only going to make me want to stay longer and come back more. So, look forward to seeing me here all the time. I'm sorry, Doris, you go first.
Well, good for you. And as Wayne's going over to,
If you guys are going to interview that man about me, you should really let me respond to all of his crazy comments. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd love to address that. Oh, yeah. Are you wanting to interview with your Heck, yeah. I am. Hi, okay. I'm going to get him and I'll come get you, all right? I'm going to go smoke over here. No, I'll be right there. I know I'm still live streaming, you guys. Let me see if I can turn it around. So they're fixing to do an interview here too. And you see what's all going on outside the meeting. And the reporter from the American Press just interviewed me too. I'm a little upset. So I'm gonna sign off. Let me see if I can find the button.